All right. If you can hear me in the chat, just push 1. All right, got a confirmation. Thank you for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 543. Black Tech Talk, please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. It's a docket in the description beneath the video for you to follow along with. If you want to engage in this discussion, there'll be a link in the chat for you to click on. When you click on the link, make sure you raise your hand so that one of us can acknowledge you and advance you to the panel. Make sure you update your Zoom application before you decide to join the panel. If you wanted to get into IT for the first time at the entry level, we do offer IT mentorship. If you're trying to go from one IT role to another, we do offer IT coaching. If you have any questions about cover letters, resumes, and salaries and wages, we do offer advice in that area as well. If you're in the tri-state area and you're looking for an IT contract, Nagone 11 does have recs on the table. Make sure you get in touch with Nagone at the end of the live stream. All right, man, let me drop the link in the chat for you all. Let me give a shout out to the people who showed up first. DJ Moss, peace to you. Jackson J, what up? Aqua Techie, peace. Craig the Tech Guy, what's up? Ty City, what it do, what it do? Soul Provider Speaks, peace to you as well. So, link is in the chat if you want to join the panel and engage. Give me 1 second. Let me make one quick adjustment before we get started. Hey, what's going on, Nagone 11?
What's going on, Mike? What's going on, fellas? What's going on, man? What y'all doing?
I'm chilling, man. Started a couple minutes early, but hopefully we can get through this. It's a short docket, but I think it's a good discussion to have. Let me get started with the first item on the docket. This is from IBEX. Okay, 11 reasons to pursue IT certification. Let me expand this out. While it's true that experience often trumps training, the absolute best result also comes from a combination of training and experience. Certification is more than just a piece of paper. It's the start of a lifelong learning and part of a journey toward ongoing knowledge and education. Check out the following recent statistics that highlight the value of getting an IT certification. 76% of IT leaders believe that IT certifications help accelerate addition of new capabilities. 90% of technology professionals surveyed affirm that certifications make for more effective staff. 7 out of 10 organizations look for IT certifications when hiring or promoting. 74% of IT leaders agree that certifications validate individuals' knowledge, skills, and abilities. 69% of IT hiring managers say that certifications increase their confidence in an applicant's knowledge of the future direction of IT. 70% of IT leaders believe certifications are an indicator of an applicant's qualifications. 95% of IT decision makers believe certification provides added value to their organization. 65% of those who took a certification exam reported a positive impact on their professional image. Certified IT pros are certified IT pros are more than 5 times more influential in IT decision making. Okay. In North America, the difference between salaries of certified and non-certified IT staff is 22%. In Asia Pacific, the difference is 45%. Okay. 70% of IT professionals preparing for certification exams reported improved effectiveness on the job. All right, so those numbers are there. You know, for all these people who, you know, who beg to differ, the numbers are there. 76% of IT leaders believe that IT certifications help accelerate addition of new capabilities. Okay. 7 out of 10 organizations look for IT certifications when hiring or promoting. I'm not making this up. Know what I'm saying? I'm not making this up. I mean, Nicole 11 is in the recruiting area. I don't know if he can speak to any of this, but this is stuff that, you know, we've been talking about for a while now, and people have come around and said, well, I don't think that certifications really matter all that much. Well, you know, these statistics beg to differ.
These stats are pretty much dead on the money. Reason why I say that is because certifications are exactly what a lot of companies are looking for, because it says you've got a basic, decent base. You have a base in the readily trainable as well. So you've learned, you've put some time in. It also shows that you've spent time at trying to become a lot more knowledgeable about your field and getting a very strong base in overall technology. So they're totally with it. That it never plays against you to have it. A lot of people would rather have it than not. So does everyone need to have a certification to do well in an area? No, but it certainly is good to have it. It's great to have it, and people look upon it very favorably. So getting certifications definitely help people in their career path immensely in IT. So I would very much suggest that one get that as they pursue whatever level of or whatever area they want to get into. Whatever area they want to get into, definitely get certified, because it will help you. It will not hurt you. It will not hurt you.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. 69% of IT hiring managers say that certifications increase their confidence in an applicant's knowledge of the future direction of IT. Okay. 95% of IT decision makers believe certification provides added value to their organization.
That's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah.
They like to see people who are trained. In IT, they like to see people who are trained. Like to see trained professionals. It also, a lot of people say it also gives you the ability that one may be more competent, that one may or one may be able to become very competent in an area quickly. Because Mike can tell you, and many other IT pros here, I don't know if Engineering Cannabis is here right now or anyone else who may come on. They can tell you in many of their environments and stuff that they've been in, you do see a decent number of incompetent people, man. People who really kind of shouldn't be there. Mike, you want to speak to that for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. And I spoke about this maybe about a month or so ago. It might have been on Zero's panel, but I'll mention it again, that I had a senior security person who he has no certifications at all. He's studying for a CISSP, He did not know the difference between an RJ11 and an RJ45. Okay? Didn't understand what an IDS was. He kept asking, why are we receiving so many alerts? Well, that's what an IDS does. It fires off alerts.
That's crazy. It's crazy. The guys at that level didn't
But when
understand.
but see, that's how office politics works. One Indian guy looks out for another Indian guy, and they bring him in.
But if you're certified, you will understand this stuff. You will have a good understanding of what these things are, and your fundamental base is strong. And there's a lot of incompetence. There's a lot of incompetence. Yeah, office politics certainly plays into it a lot, but let it play. But at the end of the day, office, the politics and bringing somebody in on a nepotism or political angle can also do damage to a company. It can hurt your operations because you have a fairly incompetent person there who also will bring down the morale and so forth of everyone else around you when they see that you got incompetent people, because now they have to, oh my gosh, there's gonna be problems. We got to deal with this, and let's be prepared for this. And they're not confident about almost anything they're doing because they know that something can happen on his side that can be a problem that they'll have to end up dealing with on theirs. So it's it's like it says, crap flows downhill. That's what that brings about. You want to eliminate as much as that as possible. You want to eliminate that at all costs if you can. And certified people that they bring in, they believe that they have baseline competence that they can really teach people from, and they'll be better learners. All right, Mike, go ahead.
No, we're gonna bring Mike Shinnery in. Mike Shinnery, what's going on, man?
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Good afternoon.
Mike Shinnery, what's going on, buddy?
All right. As you guys know, this is right up my alley because this is how I got into the IT field as a professional, was all certifications, the CompTIA path for sysadmin. And so I want to agree with the stats that were just shown up there with the percentages. I got in strictly off of certifications. Right. I didn't go to any I didn't do a 2-year college or 4-year college for computers, but I do have an associate in environmental science that I gained through the military.
That's very good.
So my paperwork, shows that I got that little bit of college, but the ability to get those certifications and pass those tests gave me some leverage in applying for jobs and whatnot. And so
now, do you plan on going back to school?
As far as college goes, probably not. I'm not. I'm 42 years old right now. I'm not. I got a big family and stuff like that. So the college route is not my thing. But like I'm not heavily against it. I'm one of those people that promotes, if you're going to school, know what you're going to school for, and have a plan.
Well, the reason why I'm asking, because you already have an environment degree, it's a 2-year degree, right? AA.
Right.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm asking is because you already completed the necessary core curriculum classes to actually transfer those over into an information systems degree. It'll probably only take you 6 months or so. I just feel like when you've gone that far, why stop right there? Why not beef up those credentials again? You could probably do it online, on EDX. Actually, EDX has a micro degree program for people like you. It would only take you like 6 classes, man, and that you can knock that out in a year. It's only like 4 or 5 hours a week. Me personally, that's just me. If I see, especially a micro degree, that's a new thing, and people don't really know it, may not know what it is now, but you're at the forefront, right? You want to be at the forefront of credentials. I don't know how long you plan on staying in IT, but if I was in that position and I had a background that did not 100% correlate to my current work, I would be looking to beef that up too.
Okay. Now, yeah, that was it's not something I looked into. Like I said, I wasn't planning on anything like that, but hearing that, I'll look into that, because that is, something that if it can benefit me, then definitely look into it and see what I can do in that realm.
Mhm.
Hey, Mike, what level are you at right now? Senior level developer or administrator or?
Senior level guy.
Me myself,
Oh,
I'm
Mike Shinnery, Mike
oh,
Shinnery, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mike Shinnery. Yes, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Mike Shinnery.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I'm in between help desk and sysadmin. I'm a specialist too.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I know exactly
so
what
I
it is.
I do some sysadmin work. I just don't hold the position of sysadmin.
Mm-hmm. 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 Do you see? Are you with a specific company right now, or are you looking to kind of move out and move around?
He works in the public sector.
You work in the public sector?
Yeah, so I work for the largest school district out here in the city, and
Okay.
then the retirement system that we have. That's my main thing because I've always been like an entrepreneur type
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a great pension plan, and they share the same pension plan as the state universities and the counties. So my I guess my plan is to get to where I can, the highest level I can within the retirement system, since I'm already paid in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
um for me right now, yes, I would like the money, but it's not just about the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
um
I can certainly see it. So sysadmin, okay, I hear you. I don't know if you would think about maybe even getting into development or anything else like that. Becoming a developer, or you're going to go more on the administration side, and and
right. So
move further up there.
yeah, at the
Go ahead.
moment, I'm wanting to go up the administration side, but I'm never gonna put out, like coding or like the database,
Go.
stuff like that, just because, I
V-
like to learn. I like to continually grow.
Right. Well, I think your story is it's kind of what we're talking about here. Here you're saying, yeah, you had some school, but you got a lot of certs, a lot of certifications, and that's what got you really recognized, and that's true. I mean, a lot of companies do know you don't have to have a 4-year degree to be to be very strong in IT. I've seen some of the strongest guys that I've known, that I've seen in the game, who were just brilliant, did not have a bachelor's degree. I've seen that. Does a bachelor degree look good, and is that advantageous? It certainly is. So I would tell people, if they can go for it, certainly do it. But it's one thing in IT, you don't have to have it to kind of move up nicely. I've seen very strong Unix people, Linux folks. I've seen some very strong developers, um, move up to fairly high position. I think I've seen strong people kind of all the way around. Some of them did not have degrees. I remember I was working with one company, Globix. This was a while ago. This is back maybe in the early 2000s. Their CTO as well was a guy who did not have a college degree, but this guy was someone who could he could program, he could do systems administration, he could do everything. And he was chief information officer, chief technical officer as well. Brilliant guy. And he did have certifications as well back then. But just brilliant, brilliant. So that's one thing about the IT field. You necessarily do not have to have a lot of formal college education. You don't have to have a lot of formal college education, but those certifications are gold. So I think that's key. That's a key part of your story. I think people need to hear.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let me get to this next item on the docket from fastcompany.com. How to successfully navigate remote work for the long run. What happened?
Did the article go bye-bye?
Yeah,
There.
I can't play it, man.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, because I don't want to get flagged.
Drop.
All right, let me just skip to the next item on the document.
No. Hey, what's going on, y'all?
So what's going on, man?
Or-
Chill.
Biggs, what's going on, Big?
Yo,
Uh,
in the garage, getting my work on.
Doing your thing.
Got brakes to rebuild.
There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go.
right. All right, this is from TechCrunch.com. Work from home is dead. Long live work from anywhere. My colleagues and I published a couple of different views on the future of work from home and remote work last Friday. A story that, if analytics is any sign, really struck a nerve with many of you. Let me advance this, brother. That shouldn't be surprising, particularly in the tech industry where knowledge work fundamentally means we spend the vast majority of our time in an office. Everything from minor annoyances to massive complaints is magnified given the time we spend in these environments. Understandably, the mandatory work from home situation that many of us find ourselves in is not ideal. Schools are closed, kids are home, internet is wonky since everyone else is home. The dog sitter isn't coming and there are no cafes to find sojourn. It's not surprising then that there is something of a popular revulsion and revolt to the whole work from home notion. Even as large tech companies like Twitter say they will permanently offer work from home as an option. That's selling short what is really taking place though. Work from home is terrible branding, precisely because it fails to communicate the fundamental freedom that comes with these new policies. It's not about further imprisoning us in our homes. It's about empowering us to think and work exactly where we are personally more productive. Yes, I know that most of us are sequestered in our humble abodes due to COVID-19, but long term, the whole point of the flexibility that work from home provides is precisely that you can work from anywhere. It may be your home, but it may be as well be a cafe, the hospital where a sick family member is located, a beach, a friend's house, a friend's house, a hotel. The point of flexibility here is to untether our schedules and the stress associated with them and allow our work to happen where we want it to. Many of us will choose to work from home and many of us will habitually return to the same working environment each day, even if it is in our home. That's fine. Flexibility doesn't mean constantly changing everything up. It means we can change things when we want and need to. One big question that has loomed over work from home policies is this: what if I like my office and the social life of meeting with colleagues? Again, we see the narrowness of the language. Work from anywhere literally means anywhere, including the very office we would normally commute to. Flexibility means adapting our schedules and our locations for the kinds of knowledge work we are trying to do. Some days are all meetings as we try to coordinate a number of projects. Some days we need to shut out the world and just dive down into writing our novels or developing a new algorithm or putting together that big presentation for the all hands meeting next week. Some days we need a mix of both. Some days we need the comfort of home, while other days we need the comfort of colleagues. In short, work from anywhere perfectly encapsulates that freedom and dynamism for our schedules deserve. For companies, the challenge is how to empower a true work from anywhere culture, which is way more than the binary of in office or at home. Many companies already have expense policies that allow employees to buy key equipment for their homes, a monitor, bringing a computer home, et cetera, as well as subsidizing home internet access. Built-in work from anywhere, should companies subsidize coffee purchases or Wi-Fi passes for employees at a nearby cafe? What about a day pass at a co-working facility? Should the company underwrite employee travel to different cities or places to freshen themselves up with new experiences? How should companies offer mechanisms for distant employees to connect in real life? Sadly, much of this discussion among executives today is about costs. Offices are expensive. Office space per employee has declined over the past 5 decades under cost pressure, which is one reason for the forced usage of open offices compared to offices with doors that close. There is more collaboration and a nice savings to the bottom line. Work from home itself got more popular as broadband internet expanded and companies were looking for new ways to minimize their expenses. Work from anywhere may not save a company any money whatsoever. What was once large office complexes may be a handful of smaller venues, with travel and food budgets that will more than make up for any real estate cost savings. This new workplace flexibility is not about saving money nor long-term social distancing. In the end, it's an investment in employee well-being, productivity, and ultimately profitability. I 100% agree with this, which is why I put it on docket. I think a lot of people, they're not going back to the office anytime soon. I've heard some stuff last night, we did the other live stream about people's companies saying they're not going back into the office until November or December of this year. That's a long time to be away from the office. At that point, there's no point in going back into the office.
There's too much lifestyle adjustment that's been made. People have adjusted. People have made too many changes to just go back to that. And then add to that the uncertainty of the school situation for children. I'm in that situation right now where, one, I work from home, and two, out here in California,
There's
they
a lot
already.
of that from you complex.
Oh, wait, hold on, man. My bad. I'm sweeping up the garage here. So one, I'm working from home. Two, there's no definitives on what's going to happen for the school year coming up. No one knows anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to there's too much uncertainty, right? For then companies and employers to just turn around and say, okay, everybody going back to work, right? There's too many concerns about this COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a whole lot of people that are going to be like, hey, you know what? I've seen too much on the news about the deaths. I know people personally that got the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, it has changed. That's the first thing. The second thing is it is actually more productive. I'm more productive working from home, man. And this isn't the first time I work from home. I worked from home when I was in human resources, when I was a recruiter in the steel industry. And, I was able to do that job while my wife was ill, So man, I got to say that I was really thankful to be able to do that during that time, because I was able to take care of my child. I was able to look after my wife. I was able to still make a living also. So there's so many benefits, especially at this point in time in working from home. And I think you're also right, Mike, about sort of broadening that, right? Because it is binary. It's either you work from home or you work at the site, right? But what about all these in betweens, like you said, like the WeWork spaces, Starbucks, stuff like that. And
the thing is about those venues now is that with social distancing, for the
there's that, right?
You're not going to be allowed to stay in those places like that. So
right. And then there's also one other thing, depending on what you're doing, because I know this is a concern with what I do, right? Depending on like the sensitive nature of the information that you might be working on, where you'll probably be required to be in an isolated space because of PII and shit like that. Like people's like sensitive data being visible to other people in like an open environment.
Well, you get a privacy screen for that.
Privacy screen? Oh, you mean like just like a screen?
Screen filter.
Yeah.
Laptop.
Yeah.
But you have a lot. Yeah, I was gonna say you have a lot of people who.
On the Go to 11 is
Did Go just born? Okay, yeah, he did. He just
let's go to Renaissance Man because
People where they have. No. Did you hear me, Mike? I don't know if I was.
You're borging out.
No, but there you go. You go. I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. I was just saying you had a lot of guys who, you had a lot of people who were working from home before. And I think, and it was kind of, I remember we were talking about this with the company that I was working with a while back, G-Spec, where they had a lot more work at home positions of, with online media salespeople and so forth that I was hiring as well for this engineering based media company. And they were looking at, even though they had a nice crew, they were looking at more people working from home and kind of doing that. This is something I've been talking to them over the last few years over. And this is something I think that a lot of companies were starting to move towards. And I think now this has been somewhat accelerated. So I think where they may have taken maybe a few years longer, maybe to get this going, I think some of them are going to start to incorporate that a little bit earlier. I think this was a move that was already coming. Now I know they're going to start to cut some staff down and maybe not carry as many people, but at the same time, the work at home thing, I believe, was something that was evolving in the American work environment, and I think this is just an accelerator to bring them to that point.
Let's go to Renaissance Man. He has his hand raised.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, bro?
No,
what's going on, buddy?
No, nothing much. I was going to add to the article didn't really talk about this, but this is also a talent retention strategy. I know with my company, they've talked about, the need for STEM talent, and, you still have that old school mentality of, people need to be in the office, but trying to say, hey, these guys can work. If they can work from home, they can work anywhere. They can work in different state, wherever. The at least on my company, the sort of point of contention was when they do need to come into the office, who covers that cost, who covers that actual flight into the office if they work that far. Additionally, I know like consulting firms, they've sort of already been operating like this for a while, in the sense of, hey, you have an office space, but because so much of our work is done from the client site, a lot of people, when they're not at the client site, will work from home, and they just have, a work area with no assigned desk to come into. And then lastly, another thing that this may open up more is, I don't know if any of you all have heard of, I think it's called Virtual Year, but it's basically a service where you pay like, I want to say like 10 grand or something. But basically this company sets you up where you go to a country every month, and they set you up pretty much a WeWork space, and you have a cohort of people, and you work from a different country every month out of the year. So you could start to see some of that industry going once this COVID-19 settles down. So it's an interesting time we're in right now.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. Because again, I can only kind of see things sort of evolving out of this, not returning to something, but actually just becoming all of this becoming a mainstay.
Yeah, the only
like even and I didn't mean to cut you off, Renaissance. But also just in going forward, forming new companies, right? The formation of new companies, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to factor in physical locations as part of their business in their business model. I would say that the majority of new companies that are going to be formed now are largely going to be virtual based, just as a base sort of operating model.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot more of that. The standard brick and mortar is always going to be around because you're going to need to
that stuff will be around.
Have a central corporate location and all that. That's going to be there. But as far as more workers who can certainly work virtually, that is something that they're going to work in. I know a lot of companies that I deal with have been dealing with some of this, and they've had people already working remotely. And they're just going to increase that. That's just going to increase.
Yeah.
So next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see some pretty big changes in the corporate environment. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to make sure we go to Safari. Finish your point, Renaissance.
Oh no, the only thing I was going to add too was just that the only thorny piece will be people who have classified work. Some people at my company have classified things that they're working on, and that's a closed environment. Can't send anything to your personal computer. Got to leave your phone. So
see, that's what I was talking about. That right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, you can see that.
Yeah, that's usually in payroll. Payroll is usually that way. I know Gillette at the headquarters, they strip you down. You gotta go through a process before you enter the facility. No phone, no pager. No shoes, no belt, and shit like that. So, yeah, but let's go to Safari real quick.
Hey, thanks. I was gonna point out that I think that something to be considered here is just the ripple effects that can come from this. This will definitely take a hit on commercial real estate and also the jobs that will be lost from the custodial staff, from the caterer businesses that go into all these different offices as well.
Yep. Satellite businesses.
Yep.
Yeah, there's all the related services, man. There's a ripple effect, and the what they call the business supply chain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely ramping up, man. And this COVID is it's put it on an accelerated path. That's what they're doing.
Now, legacy banks is a different case.
Yes. Very much so.
You can't work from home at a legacy bank. It just doesn't work that way. It's a brick and mortar. And so,
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, the question to all you guys, are you guys seeing lines at the banks?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, because they can only let a certain amount of people in per.
Yeah, they got security guard at the door, and
right.
You gotta wait till.
Yeah, I was wondering, man. Like
up.
I was seeing what I'm seeing, man, because these lines be around the corner, and I'll be like, damn.
Yeah, well, cash is king, man. Cash is king. People need to make ATM withdrawals, make deposits.
Yeah, I was telling my pops, the local grocery store, man, like they limit now your cash, like you make a purchase and then you want to get cash back. It used to be $100. They're like, nah, 60 now.
Yeah. They're another thing too. Just want to say this, maybe to a side point. Be careful of carrying around a lot of cash. It's got virus on it as well. Yeah, you got to clean your money, and I'm like,
that's
money
true too. No, that's a good point, Nego.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's out there. So just want to let y'all know. Anyway.
Yeah, before COVID, I took out $1,000. So I went to Joburg, and I still have it, just sitting on it, just in case anything does happen. So that it is a point that well, to an extent. Because
I mean, if like you said, if the shit comes down, man, it's cool to have like a little something to barter with,
Well, I just made sure I took it with me to Joburg just in case, but I didn't need it in Joburg. Their infrastructure is actually pretty good over there for payments and stuff.
Payments, yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, in China, they're not even using money hardly any cash anymore. Everything's done on their phone.
Yeah, 95% of Russians don't use cash. 95% of Russians don't use cash as of 2019.
I think Estonia's like that too.
Yeah, Estonia's on it. Yep.
Yeah, I was watching a video last night.
Oh. So I think cash is going to be going on its way out soon.
What was that, Mike?
No, I was saying I was watching a video last night where there's quite a few countries that have gone that route. They're limiting the amount of cash that you can have, and they're shrinking the amount of cash that you're able to have on hand because they're wanting to go cashless societies. And they're saying that they're already starting to do that here. What did they say? Is it 10,000 here in the States or 25,000? They're trying to bring down the amount of cash that you can have on hand.
We have a lot of cash only businesses, and also there's a lot of transactions that people in this country want to use cash for under the table purposes.
Right. That UBI, and if they do that Fed coin thing, man, that's going to change all of that drastically.
Yeah. So now I really wanted to, get to this perspective of where can you work from anywhere, right? So digital nomad life. There are probably 26 African countries. Let me pull up the map. Yeah, let me pull up the map. Yeah, so there are 20, there are probably a dozen African countries, I should probably say, that are really friendly to digital nomad life. And I'm only pointing this out because I just came from the continent a couple months ago. South Africa, Cape Town and Joburg, great for digital nomad life. Just apply for a visa, a 1-year visa, you should be good. Cost of living is pretty decent. It costs you a couple $100 which is probably about $20. I think I paid $30 for a 4-star hotel room in Joburg. It was dope. It was clean. I didn't have any issues with it.
$30? Holy
yeah.
shit!
Yeah,
That's good.
$30.
My Uber rides, which Joburg is probably about the size of Boston, so I paid probably about $6 for a ride. Pretty decent. A regular cab would probably cost you a little bit more, just because they work under the table. But food, I had my colleague and myself that I was with over there. She and I had at a 5-star restaurant, 2 glasses of wine, in a big dish. I think we paid $20 for it, $22 for it.
Sounds about right.
I would probably say you can probably live under $300 a month at a over in Joburg. You probably need to spend about $300 a month, and that's with amenities and everything else and Uber rides and stuff like that. Most of the time you can get by on foot in most places in Joburg, but if you want to get there quick, you definitely need a car. So Joburg is really friendly. Cape Town is friendly, my understanding as well. Botswana is pretty good. The capital.
Rwanda.
Kigali is really, really good. Let me explain this. Yeah, Kigali is really good for digital nomad life. Kampala, from what I understand, is really good as well. Nairobi is actually really good for digital nomad life. I met several people from Nairobi who were traveling back and forth between Rwanda and Kenya. They love it. Also, Lagos, I talk to people in Lagos on a weekly basis, and Lagos is like a major city in comparison to like something like Atlanta or Boston or something like that. It's really a beat. So that's my understanding of these places based on my travels there and talking with people on the ground. These are very good places for digital nomad life. I know Nogon 11 has been to Angola. He's been to Rwanda, so he could probably speak to that more.
Yeah, definitely so. It was a popping, hopping city, man. It was like, whoa. I have to admit, when I was there, I wasn't running the digital nomad life. I was taking they had taxi cabs that were there they weren't that expensive. But Luanda at the time, I think the city was pretty expensive. It may be that way now. I know they've had some issues with how this country is run, and I know they run up a lot of debt, so things have gotten a lot more expensive there. It was a fairly affordable city when I was there, and now I don't know. I can't say. I haven't been there in 7, 8 years. So it's been a while, but I would think it would certainly be like that. But I definitely, it's more expensive because downtown Luanda, you go in and you're getting a real 4-star hotel room. You're probably going to pay in American dollars for a night, maybe 150 or something like that. You know, so it's not gonna be that cheap.
Well, I will say too, you know, before prior to all this COVID stuff, we were trying to finalize office space in Kenya, and shoot, we were looking at what I think maybe $200, $250 a month, you know, for an office space there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like just like what Mike was saying, when he was like, you know, you could get by on like 300 a month. What was that in Joburg?
Oh yeah, this is in Joburg. Same thing in Kigali.
Yeah, and so when we were looking at is in Kenya for 200, you know, we can get a tech center established, you know, a month, and then, you know, we invest in the people who are already skilled there, and then we start putting, you know, well, I'm not going to get into what we're trying to do there because we're still trying to do it. It's just it's on pause right now because of the obvious. But just to illustrate, like setting up like getting an office space established in places like this, when you just look at the cost, it's like, man, it makes sense to do the nomad thing in places where it is welcoming to do business there. It's affordable. That's the main thing. And the technological infrastructure is there. So you know, there's Wi-Fi infrastructure. So you can get connected, do work from anywhere, you know, on the continent. You're spending way less money. Okay. And, you know, you may even be pursuing business there and tying it back to the States while you're there. So this is kind of what Mike's kind of contextualizing and framing this. That's how he's framing this here.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily need to be in the office, right, to do a lot of the work. I mean, you have a VPN connection. You have, you know, your laptop is encrypted,
right.
privacy screens, and you know, complex passwords and stuff. Let me also point out that South Africa has 4G. Kenya has 4G. Rwanda has 4G. Uganda has 4G.
Right.
Nigeria has 4G. Ghana, also put that on your radar as well. Ghana has 4G now too. I think as of this year, really stable. So 5G will probably be there in the next couple of years by 2022 or something like that. I know for Rwanda, you know, 5G rollout is really contingent upon their you know, the development of the airports and other institutions and stuff like that. So that won't be done until at least late 2022 at this point because of COVID. But make sure you put Ghana and Nigeria on your radar. I'm not familiar with the stability of Liberia at this point in terms of like infrastructure, but I know
I hear there isn't much right about now.
I've met people from there, and they, you know, they don't seem to have too much of a problem over there. But I don't know anybody who's living a digital nomad life from there. Sierra Leone seems to be pretty good as well. Or not Sierra Leone. Sorry, Senegal. Senegal seems to be pretty good as well. So I would say definitely put those, you know, put those select countries on your radar in case you plan on going there. Ethiopia is popping as well. Met a lot of Ethiopians when I was there. So shout out to them. They were definitely doing their thing over there. Let me zoom out and let's go down to the Caribbean real quick. Barbados, you know, really good infrastructure there. Cost of living is pretty cheap. Jamaica as well. Good infrastructure for communications. And the only thing you'd have to worry about is hurricane season. That's about it. Barbados, not so much. You don't have to worry about hurricane season there. They get, you know, Category 1 winds, but they don't actually get slammed. It's mostly these states up here around the above Montserrat that you would have to worry about in terms of getting slammed by Mother Nature. So now, if we zoom out, Brazil is a no-brainer. You definitely go down there. I don't know. I haven't been to Brazil yet, but I know Nagona 11 has. He probably could speak more to that.
Yeah, as far as you know, they're on 4G. You know, well, Rio, São Paulo was on 4G. I think they'll be on 5G probably 2022 or so, but they've been on 4G for a minute. Rio, the same. They were a little slower. They're 4G now, but 5G is definitely coming there. It'll probably hit Brasilia first, which is the capital of the country. That's where the government and everything kind of else resides. Even though it's a sizable city, a lot going on there as well. But it's not as much as a tourist kind of place as let's say Rio would be, or Rio or some of the other cities going further south, like Curitiba and Florianopolis. But certainly that's I do know for a fact that Brasilia and São Paulo, since São Paulo is of the largest cities in South America, and it's a big business hub, big business capital. All the major corporations and stuff are there. 5G will definitely be available. I think 2022, the latest. I believe. I'll talk with my friend Dave. He'll tell me, but that'll be there.
Huawei was in Brazil not too long ago, so I don't put it past them that I know Brazil got some pushback just before Bolsonaro was coming in about doing business with China. I know Huawei was down there at one point, so I'm not sure what the status is now, but Huawei is down there.
I would say that they're probably warm with China, given that they got the soybean business. I would say they're cool now.
Well, there were some political differences during the Obama administration about holding Brazil holding China accountable for human rights violations on behalf of the United States, to get cozy with them. But that's in the past. I don't know what the status is now, but I know China is heavily invested into Brazil from an infrastructure standpoint. So I'm not sure where they are.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It was a certain way at one point in time, but now we see that China is heavily involved.
Things are different, and then they've put down a lot of cabling, a lot of wiring, not only just some of the remote areas, but shoring up certain areas of Brazil. As I said, in São Paulo, which is a very, very it's a very modern city, very much their business hub. That's their business hub that's their business capital. Even though Brasilia is the capital, their business capital is São Paulo. That will definitely be there, and that I'm quite sure about. But anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. IBM, Lenovo are really, really big in Brazil, right in the capital, like Nagon Levin was just saying. I know. What's the other company now? Santander.
Santander Bank. Yep, Santander. And when I was there, you had all the big ones because you had Safra and Banco do Brasil, and also come on, what's the big English bank?
You're talking about Barclays?
No.
HSBC.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Very good. That's it. That's it. So they are very, very big there. Very big hubs there as well. Mm-hmm. So you have a few all the players are there, Deutsche and all them. They're all there. Along, of course, you have your big offices with Petrobras and all the other players.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then Petrobras is that's like one of their big institutions, right? Like
it's the energy company. It's a
big energy company. It's kind of state state owned and so
mm-hmm.
But it's the petrodollar with Petrobras, and it is what it is, and they have and since they've had these big giant oil discoveries there, and they've got these big plataformas outside of Rio and some of the other areas there, they're cranking up the oil game right now.
Hey, they're also Lewis Hamilton's one of his main backers, so shout out.
Who's it?
Lewis Hamilton, the Formula One driver. That's one of his main backers, Petrobras.
Yeah. Of course,
Colombia, I know a lot of guys, a lot of people who fly in and out of Colombia, and they rave about how great it is, how modern it is. from a digital nomad perspective. Definitely want to put that on your radar. You can't go to Venezuela, unfortunately. Panama popping, Costa Rica is popping. You might only have access to 3G. That's fine. You can still get a lot of work done with 3G.
3G still fast. It still moves. It still moves.
Yeah, you're not going to be streaming in HD, but you don't need to be worried about it anyway. If you're just writing code, that doesn't matter.
That's right.
Nicaragua, as
Nicaragua.
as Rick Ross likes to say, Ricky Ross, Nicaragua. So,
Hey, Mike, and you mentioned Colombia, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Colombia.
Okay, yeah, there's some cat going around the manosphere now talking about how Colombia just got like dirty water and shit.
Yeah, Dieteril.
Well,
that's Colombia, and I was like, wait. I think there's a guy going around talking shit about Colombia.
Well, they tried, because it was funny. I was talking to Marco Grande, and he was, saying, when I was in Colombia, he said, well, how do you like the brown water? I was like, the brown water's all right. It's funny, when I was hitting the showers and stuff, I didn't see much of that. I didn't have a lot of brown water hitting me at all. You get clean down there pretty good. And, I tended to drink out of bottled water anyway. So that's kind of what we were doing.
Yeah.
Like how we do here in the United States with all our clean ass water, right? Majority of people drinking out of bottles.
Exactly. So, it wasn't a real problem, but, you go to various cities there, Cartagena, Medellin, Barranquilla, and all these other spots. It's very good, man. Very, very good. Yeah. Great place to go. So I'd say Colombia is definitely going to be on there. Now, one thing I had to say when I was there was we on 4G? I think we were 3G. My phone, was I on 3G? I think we were on 3G there. But I believe 4G is probably there now. 5G, don't know when that's going to really hit there. I have to say I wasn't even inquiring about it.
Maybe mid-late 2020s.
Yeah, I don't think it's hitting there yet.
Not soon.
But very nice down there. Very, very nice. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Did you say, Mike?
No, I was just gonna say, keep in mind you can always get a satellite connection.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Satellite can be just as fast now as 3G, 4G, depending on where you are. So, Honduras is on the the US's travel advisory list, so you want to make sure you avoid that area for right now.
I have an Irish friend from Ireland. He's in Honduras with his wife there, and currently, and I spoke to him maybe about 4 months ago. Some of these travel advisories, I say you have to be a little bit careful of. It's not as randy as a lot of people might want to say. I'll just say that I think you just, like in a lot of places, you just got to know where to be and kind of stay out of trouble. But I don't think there's a lot of crazy shit going down, though. They do have murders in what is it? Tegucigalpa, I think is the main city there. They do have some shit going down, but it's not like a lot of people say, like Rio. Rio's a beautiful city, but you walk around there at certain times of the night in certain areas, you may get torn out the frame. So, I don't think, it's a possibility,
Well, I follow Bone Tactical on YouTube. He's a security contractor in Central America, and he talks vividly about how he has to protect certain families, certain compounds, and stuff like that while he's down there. So he speaks about that on a weekly basis. So I follow him just based off of that. But definitely Costa Rica and Panama, put that on your itinerary as well.
Costa Rica, definitely. Costa Rica,
yeah. I know AM1 just came from there not too long ago.
And I know a couple people that went down there to do some shit down there. So
yeah. So make sure you got your mind right and your body right before you get up.
Yes, sir. Get your mind right. Get your body.
Your delts, your traps.
somebody your body right.
Yeah. What did you say, Mike?
I said either you get it right or somebody's going to get your body right for you. So
Yeah, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, but Baja, California, there's a couple of YouTubers, the Manosphere, who seems to be down there, and they seem to be doing quite well down there, if I say so myself.
Oh my God! Don't get me started with the dudes who get out in the damn desert and shit, man. There's guys that are doing some real interesting shit out in like the desert, like the high desert areas and stuff. Man, there's dudes that got like some sick things going on, man. Like you got dudes that are like, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go way the fuck out, you know, I'm just gonna go out to the high desert out there, man. I'm just gonna build a house and just fucking build a solar collector, man. I'm just gonna dump all the energy on the grid, just make money, and you know, just maybe grow some weed and give it to my boy. He'll take it back into the city and sell it, you know. And they got all kind of weird shit going on, dude. These dudes just make shit tons of money.
Yeah, Mexico's a trip.
I like to be dune bugging out there too, man. Fucking crossing back and forth.
That's the other thing. They do that. They do that to build a shop. They go out there to build a shop out there to build fucking Baja 1000, you know, race trucks, and they're right there. And then they go run the shit. It's just like the guys who will go and build like a $500,000 home out in a place like Rosamond, right? Because Willow Springs racetrack is like 1 mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have like this dream crib, big ass shop. They pay next to nothing because the land out there is, see, there's cheap land in California. Don't get it twisted. There is cheap ass land in California. It's just about where you're going. So these dudes will leverage cheap land, and hey man, it's like their playground.
Yeah. So Middle East wise, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, definitely Qatar. Very, very modern. So any one of these three, you should be good. UAE as well. I met several people when I was out there on my way to the continent. Definitely chopped up a lot of game out there with some people out there. So actually, I've been offered roles to work in the Middle East the last couple of years. The only reason I've turned them down is because the main gripe here is that they want you to go find your own apartment or something like that, and it's not that easy. It's not as easy as they make it seem. So I was not able to secure a location in the time frame that they given me. So
well, you know, you can. It depends on if you go with Airbnb. You can live with families. They have families out there that can put you up as well.
Yeah, they asked me, do I know anybody out there? And at the time, I didn't know anybody out there, so that's why.
Who live real good, and it's cash. There's that shit. That shit is a cash money brother joint. That's the CMB out there, man. Mm-hmm. Damn, everybody I know who's going out to Bahrain and work, they've come back, or Dubai or these, they have come back stacked. So the mad stacks out there, man. That's you're getting paid. Those cats out there paying.
Yeah. Riyadh, as much criticism as we give it on geopolitics, it's still a livable place. I've been offered roles there as well. We'll skip right over Iran. I don't think he's going there anytime soon. Turkey, okay, Istanbul, and Ankara, both good spots for digital nomad life. Met a couple of people when I was on, like I said, I was on the way to the continent, chopped up some game with them when I was at the airport. They were going in and out. These were Americans. They were living that digital nomad life themselves. They were consultants. So definitely dope, brother friendly, so to speak. So I didn't have any problems at the airport. Got some fucking bad chicks out there. Let's move over to Asia real quick. I got contacts in Vietnam and Hanoi. Definitely, cost of living is really cheap.
Mike, I heard that, by the way.
Yeah.
Also, hey, Mike, just tell them, Vietnam, one of the hottest places to work right now in Asia, period. All Asia, one of the top spots right now. Yeah,
Vietnam is the fastest growing economy outside of China right now. Hottest place for investment right now is Vietnam. So, that being said, definitely put that on the radar. Cambodia as well. Cambodia is starting to come up. Thailand,
Yeah.
obvious. Go ahead and say what you were saying, Nicole.
No. You were like Cambodia. Yeah. I was out there some years ago. Man. No. Cambodia is the shit. But anyway, yeah. Oh man, that place is the bomb. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Singapore. I got invited out there a couple of times back in 2018. Didn't actually make it, but they definitely invited me. Said that you would definitely fit in. If you're a tech guy, you would definitely fit in there. They're a technocracy. So for you black technocrats, this is right in your alley, right up your alley.
Just don't go around, spitting or doing graffiti or nothing like that. They'll whip your ass.
Yeah, they had some guy out there, some kid went out there some years ago and did that, and he wrote on the wall and did some shit. He's
graffiti.
Yeah, they whooped his ass with a cane.
They took him, and they were like, "No, he's an American boy. You can't do this to him." No, they were like, "We gonna tear him out the frame," and they grabbed his ass. They had a professional caner who was a martial artist. And they were like, "Well, you can do that shit over at home, but you can't do that here. You're in our country. You got to go to our laws." And they caned him real quick and sent his ass home.
They whooped his ass like they was his pops.
They said they whipped his ass like his daddy, or like his daddy didn't do, but his daddy should have done. And they sent old mayonnaise boy back on home with a couple of stripes on him.
A couple of welts on his ass.
Stripes. He caught a couple of stripes, and they sent him home. So yeah, that's why I want to start picking up because it's funny because that's exactly what they'll do. Don't play around. Don't mess around.
Yeah. Manila. Duterte's in power. I don't know how great the stability is there. I've never been there.
My brother was there. He was there last year. He took pictures. It's really good. It's just they're just going after if you're a drug dealer, because they're really trying to cut the drug problem down there. And Duterte is a straight savage. I cannot blame him. He's taken a very draconian view towards the drug trade in his area. And now he's running the country, Manila. The drug dealers are afraid. They're off the street, so you're not seeing a lot of craziness because. However, the game is going down. They know this man is quite serious, and he's going to light you up like a Roman candle if he gets a hold of you. So they're keeping things kind of cool in that regard. Things are not way out of line, so I wouldn't be afraid to go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know Hong Kong and Taipei has been on DE Raptors list the last few months, or at least last 6 months. He's been in and out of these places, so it seems pretty friendly according to him. So I don't have anything negative to say from a digital nomad standpoint. I can only speak to what some of the subscribers have spoken about in terms of that. I would stay away from European countries. Unless you have a specific reason for being out there. You want to be around melanated people as much as possible, if you can. The experience is worth it. My advice: Qatar Airways, best experience I've had from an international standpoint. They go to extra length, and the app is actually pretty stable. When it comes to booking flights and itineraries and stuff like that. Really good updates in real time and stuff like that. So anything else you want to add, Nicole?
No, as far as you're saying about Qatar Airways and all that, man, you're dead on it, because they're saying Qatar Airways is one of the best airlines on earth right now to fly, and the service and stuff you have. It's the best flying out here. So yeah, you're right on the money, man. You're pretty much hitting it right on the head.
Yeah, I second that. Mike, I have coworkers who go back and forth to the Middle East, and Qatar is the way to go if they can.
Yeah, they say that's some of the best flying within the human species.
Yeah, yeah.
Hard to get better. Hard to get better.
I don't know if you've have any experience. I think Emirates Air, I think as well too.
Emirates, they're very good too. I mean, big planes, showers, bathtubs, all this kind of craziness. If you want to go first class, you go in first class. It's crazy. Yeah. So they're killing it. They're straight out, outclassing everybody. Man, it is what it is.
Yeah, a bunch of I know one girl who was supporting an executive last year, and she was going to like UAE and Australia and all over the world. And yeah, that's what she was saying. She was saying her vice president would pretty much work, take a nap and then go take a shower because he was in business class. So yeah. The
first class is crazy. It's crazy. So I had a friend who sent me a video. I was like, I would just like to just go first class just to fly there and back. That's a vacation in itself. On the aircraft, it's unbelievable.
I got a question for you guys that have been over there, that have traveled over there for work. Where would somebody go to find any kind of contracts or something like that for those countries if they wanted to, say, go work for a year somewhere just to check it out?
You have international firms. I know Robert Half is really big on that. Your staffing firms and stuff like that. I know Infosys is really big in that area. WePro. So you want to make sure you check those multinational staffing firms to see what they have available in those areas first, and actually let the recruiter know that hey, I'm looking to get to get over there. They want Americans over there, from my understanding, from all the recruiters I've spoken to. Hey, would you be willing to relocate over there? I don't know about going to Bahrain right now with all those uprisings and stuff like that happening. But definitely check out the multinational recruiters. They're really good at that.
I was going to also add too, at least from my experience, from I've seen people do it. My company's multinational. I've seen people who have through their work made connections with people who work in different areas, either the government or private firms that they're working with on contracts. So as they're working those contracts, they'll build those connections and sometimes switch companies, go work for a foreign company over there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't have your passport already, what are you waiting on? We've covered this before. You should already have your passport. For those of you listening that do not have it already. But let me get to this one last article here. This is from the Wall Street Journal. With remote work here to stay, IT executives reassess tech priorities. Let me read this real quick. Information technology leaders at software companies, including Dropbox Incorporated and Elastic and V, are preparing for an extended period of remote work, a process that involves signing up for some new workforce IT tools and culling others that seem superfluous. The reassessment of IT tools is among the many economic impacts of the global pandemic. Worldwide IT spending is projected to be $3.4 trillion this year, down 8% from 2019, according to a May 13th report from research firm Gartner Incorporated. Devices and data center systems are expected to see the largest drops in spending, while spending on public cloud services is expected to grow 19% this year, Gartner says. Sylvie Velo, Chief Information Officer at Dropbox, is responsible for managing nearly 1,000 software tools and applications used by the San Francisco-based cloud software company. Understanding how employees are using those tools is critical for optimizing the experience of working at home, she said. The goal is to prevent workers from needing to toggle between dozens of applications that are difficult to use. That's a new emphasis that's greater than it has been in the past, Ms. Velo said at an online conference hosted last week by enterprise technology venture capital fund Workbench. To that end, in the coming months, she plans to evaluate whether to retire certain tools if they are not adding value. She will also consider Buying new tools such as those that can analyze how specific apps are being used and which features within apps are being used by different teams to help understand employee activity and engagement, she said. Dropbox recently extended its global work from home policy through September 1st, while also telling its 2,800 employees they are free to work remotely through the end of the year if they choose, when the company eventually reopens. Its offices, Ms. Valo will consider tools such as those that help support conference rooms with fewer people, she said. Some executives say their workers will have the option to work remotely for the foreseeable future, even as local governments ease social distancing guidelines. About 74% of companies plan to permanently shift at least 5% of their previously on-site workforce to remote positions after the coronavirus crisis subsides. According to a Gartner survey of 317 financial executives from various industries on March 30th. Kim Huffman, vice president of global IT at Dutch open source software company Elastic, said she would consider using a tool from Robin Powered Incorporated, a workplace scheduling software company, to help manage the return to the physical office for some employees. Elastic, with US headquarters in Mountain View, California, has about 2,000 employees, of whom about 80% were already working remotely before the pandemic, she said. The Robin software could help Elastic set up its physical office space, such as arrangement of desks to manage social distancing requirements. In recent weeks, she has also accelerated the rollout of an application from Ginger that offers behavioral health coaching, therapy, and personalized exercises for employees. Ms. Huffman, who also spoke at the virtual workbench event, is among several IT executives who are leading well-being initiatives during the coronavirus pandemic. All right, that's the end of the article. Open it up.
I'll throw in there real quick, Mike. In that article, she stated that they're looking for software that will help the company understand how the employees are using the software, and it's little things like that that keep me always wanting to learn. Like, I'm not putting off writing programs, writing code and stuff for those reasons, because she's looking for code, for somebody to code something for her to help her understand how people are interacting with the programs they have.
Yeah,
it's
an interesting statement.
There's always going to be reason for coding and stuff like that. Like, well, of course we know that, but I mean, there's so many different things out there. So for people, that are looking into IT, that's why I don't write anything off completely. Like, I want to master the skill I have now, but I'm always open. I'm always looking into, like just Python, start learning some Python and some of those coding and stuff like that, for those reasons. Because, 2 years from now, like what's happening right now, in 2020, in 2022, we might be seeing a whole different world.
We're going to see a whole different world. You can bet on it. You can bet on it. Like, that's just, make no mistake about it. We're seeing it now, man. There's no, I was saying this last night in economics live stream, like there's no return to quote unquote normal, right? Just much like how there wasn't, maybe there was a little bit of a return to normal after 2008, right? But let's think about like 9/11, for example. Okay, there was no return to normal after that. This is another one of those instances where there's not a return to normal. So I think going forward, everything is going to be predicated upon creating based off of what you know, right? And the more you know, the more you can create, or the more you can apply what you create. And I think that's really where we're really starting to see where we're going here. I'll relate it to, my whole my IoT, my whole sort of IoT thing that I've kind of gotten into. I didn't realize it 2 years later when I first took, the gig with Bird, that it would turn into what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? And then from there, it's like, okay, I can take it international. I can vary the application of it. So it doesn't have to just simply be micro transport, but now I can make micro transport commercial, cargo bikes running like a mini UPS type of thing. The ideas start to come in to view based on what you know. The more you know, the more you start to see what you can do with what you know. That's really what my point is.
Hey, Mike, I was going to ask you, sort of tying back to this whole chat, from your experience, one of the things I remember reading when they talked about, specifically in tech with more people working remote and virtual locations, they talked about some fear of being out of that, network, or as far as the unofficial network. Like if you're in Silicon Valley and you relocate to somewhere else, that you're basically taken out of that environment. They kind of thought, you may be putting yourself at a disadvantage. I was just curious, with you being in tech and you being a hotspot, what's your take on that?
I've never been to Silicon Valley, but we have our own. Massachusetts is the number one state, or the number one place in the world for life sciences. We have two of the major institutions. So we have our own sort of, you have MIT and Harvard, and then you have Northeastern and, Suffolk, and, there's many various academic institutions that spawn off different other tech companies and startups and stuff. And we're actually the number one state for startups in the country. So for me, not being close to Silicon Valley has never been a disadvantage for me. But I understand what the point, the sentiment is that, like I said, for melanated people, they would be impacted by not being closer to those social networks.
Or even if you were, like, for example, I guess even not even necessarily Silicon Valley, but like you not being in Boston, but working firm based out of Boston.
Well, Mike, did you ever consider Silicon Valley?
No.
Okay.
No. And that's the whole purpose of LinkedIn.
Right. Okay.
So LinkedIn is supposed to, provide that sort of global reach for social networking. And so I don't know if it has that much of an impact. I've never really had a problem getting a job, so to speak. I mean, yeah, I've done many interviews and have never gotten a call back or something like that, being ghosted and stuff like that.
That's kind of just part of the.
Yeah, but I think that's just, it could be a variety of things, including racism. But to your point, Renaissance, I think that there is a there when it comes to certain demographics of people not being in proximity to, tech hubs. And that's why I put a lot of emphasis behind, local state governments building their own Silicon Valleys. That way you're not losing, massive amounts of human capital to one large location on the West Coast and stuff like that. I think every city should have, a tech hub like that.
Yeah, Andrew Yang, that was his whole thing with one of his startups, was trying to pull people away from the typical, New York, DC, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, and get them to go to a place like Detroit or some of these regional places to try to, jumpstart the economy there with their talent. So.
Yeah, it's a big it's a long-term investment strategy for any state in the United States to actually invest into a tech hub. I was reading this yesterday, and I think before I was doing some research for this live stream. Tech hubs are not just places where nerds hang and stuff like that. It's a whole physical, cultural experience, right? It's the environment that sets off the thought process and the sort of complex conversations that lead to innovative ideas. And so when you look at Apple stores, the way they're structured, all their stores are kind of, although they're in different locations, they all provide the same cultural experience.
Yep. I was going to say
cultural experience. You walk into their environments, you just feel immersed in there. They mastered this, man. many other cities and states would actually be, it would behoove them to actually follow Apple's blueprint, you know, the whole
Hey, Mike,
bar and stuff like that.
Mike, question. What was Mara's store like? Just curious.
It's different. It's different. It's like a T-Mobile store. So
It's more like a okay.
yeah, it's like a T-Mobile store. It's not really, it's not meant to be comparable to. I've been to the Vodafone store in Joburg, and it's very similar.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Okay. No, that's what I mean.
Mike.
I was more or less asking from a, you know, because that's interesting, right? Like how Apple really, because, you know, they do it with the actual user interface on the computers themselves, the phones, and then they even put it into like the physical space, right? There's stores, right? So like you said, it's when you're dealing with Apple, it's immersive, right? And then I was curious what, you know, and I kind of got the feel of that when you've talked about it before. Like Mara is more like walking into like a T-Mobile versus like when you walk into a damn Apple store, right? Like it's night and day. And you said Vodafone is similar to Apple?
Yeah. So similar to
Mara.
I would say a Vodafone store is more like an AT&T store.
Wow, even Vodafone.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Wow.
Yeah, I just want to ask. Hey, Mike, was there a manufacturing facility for Mara close around, or?
That's
I don't
no,
know
the
if you had a chance to
manufacturing
take a
is
look at
the plant's there in Rwanda. I forgot the city.
The plant is in Kigali. So
It's
it's outside of
the plant is where, Mike?
Kigali.
Kigali.
It's outside. And was that far
Kigali,
from New York?
Kigali has outskirts. So if you go further out, take a 5-minute, 10-minute drive. It's open. So so to that point, you know, about it would behoove these states and city governments to actually build out these sort of Silicon Valleys within their own. You know, I know New York did something like Harlem Silicon, something like that, Silicon Harlem or something like
that.
What's coming out of there? What's
Silicon
coming out of there?
Is it finished or I don't know? I don't know the status.
What's coming out of Silicon Harlem? You know, basically that is more of a, it's kind of like it's a small tech hub. It's a big learning institution where a lot of people are kind of getting incubated to start. Not a lot of people, it's actually relatively small. It's a drop in the bucket there in the city. But you know, you have some of your brighter students and so forth who are, you know, kind of moving advanced and going to schools like MIT and so forth like that, you know, are involved kind of in this. And it's a small tech hub. Are they manufacturing stuff and coming at it right now? Not that I'm aware of as of yet, but it's you know, strong teaching institution where people are learning a lot of things.
Yeah, that happens. Usually your tech hubs are usually surrounded by major academic institutions. It's even for Raleigh, right? Raleigh, North Carolina, big, you know, that triangle down there. That's what's spawning a lot of the talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's spawning a lot of the talent. But go ahead, Renzo.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, you know, all the schools, Duke, NC State, Wake Forest.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you too, Mike. You said that you never looked at Silicon Valley. Was that just a personal reason, or you had some sort of just against it for other purposes?
No, I'm so disconnected from I'm on the East Coast. That's like it's a far reach for me.
Yeah, because you talking clear across. That's why I was curious about it, because I mean, I don't know of too many people who come clear across the country to Silicon Valley if they're from the East Coast, because typically they're going to go to where Mike's at. That's why I was just curious if you ever had interest in actually, or if there was like opportunities that you actually considered actually leaving there and going west. Because I already know that like on the East Coast, you're in the Silicon Valley, quote unquote, of the East Coast. So
MIT is only 5 minutes away from me. So
right, exactly.
Walking into, you know, that area, that is our Silicon Valley.
Exactly.
Right. They have many, you know, MIT has many, the campus is massive, but it's a city within itself. So there's many little startup factories and incubators and stuff that they have littered across the city that you can walk into, or at least unless you're invited. And so Harvard has something very similar. I was at Harvard back in November, on campus, and as traditional as they are, they're moving in that direction themselves. So what I'm saying here is that I never really had to consider Silicon Valley. And I think
Right.
the term Silicon Valley is kind of a misnomer, because Silicon Valley, the term made sense when they were making motherboard computers out of it, out of the garages and stuff like that, right? Compact and all that stuff.
Compact, Hewlett Packard. Yep.
Yep. No, I got you. I was just curious if it was like if you had other reason. No, that makes sense. If you have something the equivalent right next door, why move across the country?
Well, yeah, that's why I was just curious to know, because you really kind of don't, right? You don't really have a compelling reason unless you just desire to like leave the East Coast. But I was just wondering, like, if was there like a company that hit you up, a startup or something, man, that just kind of slid you off, or you was like, God damn, you kind of scratched your head like,
And offered entry level roles on the or out there, but I don't see myself taking an entry level role out there.
Right. Okay.
So getting back to this point though about these cities and governments, man, they should be going to the Fed and asking for a $100 million loan or a $50 million loan or something like that, or an investment, bond or something like that, to actually spawn their own incubators. That's a big problem, which is why they can't retain a lot of their talent. Silicon Valley just drains a lot of states of human capital, because they don't have their own
well, and okay, but see, right, the problem begets itself, right? So if you're not going to invest in it, then what the hell do you think is going to happen?
Well, because you have a lot of Christians, and I don't want to put the religious aspect behind it.
Yeah, no, I know, but I already know where you're going though. Yeah.
Christian institutions or Christian run states, the ones that are really hard.
Those institutions get the fund, they get the money.
Well, not so much that they get the money, but there's a desire to not look at tech as a long-term trajectory for human development growth. They don't really look at it that way, right? Because they're so wedded to the to their book,
religious dogma. Yeah, no, I can speak to that. No, part of it also too is at least the way I see it is you have to have a very sound educational system at all levels to produce the talent that's A, going to grow up and do something like that, and then B, going to make the sound investments to continue to grow the institutions like that. And that is not the case in a lot of these deep red states. I saw an example of, can't believe it was somewhere in the Midwest. It was a small college town, but you had a professor who was like a PhD in an engineering discipline, and he was one of the biggest job creators in the town. But how many, he was in a college town, how many people in that state do they really develop to have that type of knowledge who can then turn around and create jobs? So
well, you need to actually bring these people in too, right? It's not uncommon that you would actually I think even Vermont will give you $10,000 up front if you
relocation fee.
Yeah, so you need to recruit that sort of talent. Somebody from the outside probably would have a better perspective on how to build up your inside, right? Your interior operations and stuff like that. So, and local state governments, man, in the Bible Belt need to actually look at creating startup, or not only creating startups, but leveraging startups to help accelerate them out of their technical misery.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they don't have a problem with giving away major tax abatements to major companies who will bring all these manufacturing jobs. But, that's literally hey, here's a $50, $100 million tax abatement. You don't pay taxes, property taxes for the next 20 years. And we know jobs are coming versus, you have to get them to buy into, okay, here's this person coming. He can't necessarily guarantee it in the same way, but I know what you're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a long-term vision. That's the problem. It's kind of like, okay, what do you see for like the long-term growth and viability of your given, city, county, municipality, whatever, whatever we're terming it. If we're not looking at saying, hey, in 20 years, we would like to have fill in the blank. Maybe you want to start now, right? That's, you got to have that kind of thought. That's why when we keep talking about Africa, we keep saying, well, for the future vision of the countries, they say, well, look, if we want to be a tech powerhouse, we have to start now, right? It can't be a, well, that's a good idea. We'll see, what's the ROI on it in 3 years' time? It's like, that's not how we need to be looking at this.
Yeah. There is no other solution other than to have a Fox sort of technocratic state within the state itself. That's the only way you're going to actually get out of your rut.
Basically,
from a technical perspective. But let me answer Mutant Black in the chat. He says, at Mike V, if Atlanta is the Black Mecca or Black Hollywood, is there a remotely close Black Silicon Valley? Actually, there is a, Atlanta has been regarded as Black Silicon Valley for the East. I know some of that stuff has shifted to Houston in recent years. I know Houston is like one, like the fourth largest city in terms of like, human capital and stuff like that. So I haven't been to Houston, so I don't really know, but I've heard many things about Houston on a come up. Houston is today where Atlanta was pre-2008, so I don't know.
Raleigh.
Oh yeah, okay, Raleigh. Okay.
That's another sizable Black population, growing tech scene. Atlanta's definitely got one. Georgia Tech is there, as well as you got Morehouse there. So you've got two major institutions that, and I think they actually have partnerships. I know people who have gone to, I believe it's Spelman and Morehouse, and they have been able to complete like their engineering degree from Georgia Tech. So they have some programs where you can sort of go to both schools at the same time. So you've got that, as well as with Atlanta, you have a lot of corporations that are relocating their headquarters there too. So I definitely think it's an option for if you're looking for the Southeast. I don't know. I mean, like you said, Houston. I know Dallas is big. I don't know if the tech scene is quite. I know it was big back in the day. I don't know what it looks like now, but I know it's like, I want to say like third as far as where Black people are relocating to. So like I said, I know historically they've had a tech scene. I don't know what it looks like now.
Yeah. We got Black Torch on the panel.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good, brother.
How you doing?
It's just been crazy these last days. So
yo, what's going on, man?
it's work, man. It's work. It's just crazy. This is just crazy. The hackers are just going crazy, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Fire after fire, you have to go and put out. Oh man.
There's a comment in the chat that I want to kind of touch on real quick.
Oh, okay. I'll shut up then.
Yeah, Kill Dudes made a response to Mutant Black and says that Black techies should move to Chattanooga or Huntsville and create it. I don't know, man. I've never been to Chattanooga or Huntsville.
Huntsville is I can't speak for Chattanooga, but Huntsville has a reputation. I believe it's one of the highest engineering number of engineers per capita. You've got Alabama A&M, which is there as well too. So you've got people who graduate and stay in the area and work, but you do have a large presence of a lot of aerospace and defense, as well as other startups that are there. Yep, automotive's there as well too. So like Blue Origin, Bezos's company, it has a presence. I believe Facebook has some sort of presence there too. So if you don't want the massive big city type of feel, if you want more of a slower pace with still that sort of talent, that is an option.
See, my problem is when I hear Alabama, I think
Exactly.
I think Nick Saban. I don't think tech.
No, Huntsville is a bubble. It is literally a bubble compared to the rest of the state. Everyone in the state would tell you that.
No, it was just the word Alabama. I'm sorry. I just can't do
the
it.
fucking Crimson Tide, man. I'm sorry, dude.
Not the Crimson Tide. I think about the other Come on. You know the South has a bad reputation.
Well, we get all that, but I'm saying in modern day, dude, I don't know of Alabama for anything other than goddamn Nick Saban in college football.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Like
I don't know.
you don't know
When we
Alabama.
talking about Alabama up here, Alabama up here,
Wait,
it's
what?
like Alabama. It's like when we talk about Alabama here in New York, it's almost like it's another country.
Exactly.
It's like,
That's what I'm saying.
No. It's almost like another country, and you have a high degree of kind of what the South connotes since after Civil War it does kind of mean kind of slow, dim-wittedness, savage, kind of stupid, which is wrong.
Right, because
But
they got a tech sector.
Which is totally wrong. But that's some of the impression. That's some of the impressions you
Okay,
get that they're a little slow.
I can give him my impression. When I was in the Army, I had to go down to it was the home of Army Aviation down in Columbia, right? And basically that place was pretty racist. I mean, I don't know how you explain it. We were in Dalton, Alabama. That place was pretty damn racist.
Oh, you were in was it Fort Benning?
No,
not Fort Rucker.
No, yeah, Fort Rucker, the home of Army Aviation. And trust me, it was pretty damn racist. So
you're right.
You're right. This is funny. I was at a Pocono Raceway. This was a few years back, and I had my car out in the track, and and we were doing some SRT stuff with the SRT guys, and you had this one guy. He was a racer from out. He was a southern racer. He done some NASCAR. I'm forgetting the guy's name now, but he was but he was a southern one of them southern good old boys. And I'm hanging there. We had our crew. A couple brothers. All that. Anyway, we were going to do some hot laps around the track, and he was putting together the teams. So I'm one of the team leaders. And and then there are like three other teams, that they had in there, So it's funny. So we start saying, all right, well, we're gonna lay out across our teams. You Carl, yeah, okay. You're the black team. I'm like, of course I am.
I believe
it. I mean, and they do it so subconsciously.
It's not even subconscious. It's just like rolls off your tongue.
For him, it was just like, yo, this is what I do.
Okay, I'll tell you the two incidents that let me know that this place is crazy. I go into the store, convenience store. We out of uniform, so we go in the store. We pick up some stuff, beer and chips. It was a hard day, so we picked up some snacks. So we're standing in line. Now this is three of us now. One guy was a Puerto Rican guy and two black guys, right? So we're in the thing, right? And so a white woman comes up, the person ignores us and go to the white woman. So I said, excuse me, we were standing here. We're not invisible. We're right here. And she said, oh, I want to get to the lady first. I said, like, no, you get to the people who was in line first. All right. That was the first incident. Okay. We go. I was late.
Wait. What the fuck? Really?
I'm telling you. So one incident
that's mild.
Well, yeah, that's mild. I'll tell you the real bad incident. We went to this. We just drove from Columbia, Georgia, another pretty racist town, to Dalton, Alabama. Where Fort Rucker's at, right? So we get in there late at night. So we're going to get something to eat, and they closed the door of the place to us. Literally closed the door and said, "No, y'all can't get closed." So we went to we reported the place and put it on.
What year was this?
I'm not gonna go there, but it's not that far along. Not that far, trust me. They did it to a bunch of Secret Service dudes in Denny's. Trust me, they do it all the time.
They're giving zero fucks.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah, they did it to the Denny's guy. That was quite a while ago. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, but I've been out. But I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. So I have bad thoughts about the South.
Now let's transition out of that because Renaissance made it.
No. I'm just saying if Huntsville is different, I don't know, but
no, it is different. I mean, but you can say the same thing about Atlanta, kind of. I mean, you get outside of Atlanta, like you were saying, Columbia, Georgia, it's that same. So think about Huntsville as kind of like Atlanta's kind of a bubble to Georgia. Huntsville is its own little bubble to Alabama. Like I said,
Okay.
bunch of state funding. That the Kennedy Space Center, I believe, is there. So like a big thing for people growing up was like to go there, and that's how they tried to get people interested in space and all that. So it's like I said, it's a little bubble of its own.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure we because I know you're from New York, and are you familiar with Silicon Harlem Silicon?
Who you talking to? Me and the girl?
Porch.
Oh, you talking to me? Okay. Um, a little bit. But the thing about it is, New York is kind of crazy because we got different areas. We got fintech, we got biotech, and we have the what are those the retail things, and we pretty much stay separate from each other. I don't know. Nagone maybe is the Harlem. Yeah, yeah.
I think so. I mean, you have some top universities. You've got NYU. You've got your science. You got some tech there. You've got Cooper Union, which is a ridiculously competitive small school. A lot of people don't know about, but it's like a small E over there, Cooper. You have
Polytech.
you have Polytech. You got Columbia. One of the top institutions. Rolling. You've got so much going on. So there's a lot. It's a big hub. Science and technology. Just with the planetariums and everything else like that they have there.
Yeah.
So there's this so the city's got everything. It's got it all.
Right, and my area is more like the biotech. So we hardly ever interact with the financial tech or the retail tech. It doesn't. There is no overlap. So I don't know what Harlem. Do you know what they do up in Harlem? Is it fintech or is it retail or Mike? Yeah.
Well, man, it's changing over so much now. Now you got Columbia University there. That's been moving in, and you got Presby, and you got a lot of stuff moving into the area. I mean, really starting to move up in there, as well as the area, of course, as you know, is being gentrified.
Oh yeah.
To a certain extent. There's a lot of gentrification going on. A lot of mayonnaise folks moving into the area. Wow, I would have to say, looking at a biotech, definitely fintech for sure. What else would I say? I don't know. I would say almost a little bit everything going on in Harlem right now.
Yeah,
man.
because there was those companies doing like what was that black woman that had that hair care thing, something daughters, and she was in Brooklyn.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of those. I think they're in Harlem and in Brooklyn. There's a whole bunch of like hair care and all kinds of stuff going on. But
Brooklyn is like the place of Lakefront Valley or something.
I didn't hear that. Sorry, Mike.
No, I was just asking. Are you trying to say that Brooklyn is the place of Lakefront Valley?
No, it's just that it's so okay. It's so divided by different. If you're in certain areas, there is no. I give an example. Columbia, we got Columbia, we got Presbyterian, we got NYU, we got Polytech, and all those are doing like biotech and fintech, and there is no cross pollination. I've never run into anybody doing both. And then the other parts of New York, they're doing their own
there
thing.
is one thing. City University as well, up on Convent.
Oh yeah,
a lot of heavy duty shit going on over there. City is another big player that people don't really think about. So there's a lot of cross pollination.
Well, that's just called the Andy Grove School. That's where the guy from Intel went. So him, all these guys went there. Yeah.
Yeah, the poor man's Harvard, man. And a lot of brilliant guys. Dr. Michio Kaku, the Japanese He's American,
astrophysicist, yeah.
astrophysicist, scientist, and celebrity. Very, he's there.
Yeah.
So you got
And
players.
most people don't realize, besides the big schools, City College got as many people with Nobel Prizes as all the rest of them.
Well, remember City University because they have a
Yeah.
whole they have
Yeah.
system that college.
Remember, Einstein taught at City College.
He sure did. I mean, that was the point. Well, he had a lot of Jews who went there.
Yeah.
So that was a big hub, and you had a lot of very brilliant people there, and they're still there. And you have blacks, but a lot of Indians and Chinese folks there, and as well. So they're all rolling through Harlem, and everybody's there. It's city, right there in Harlem.
I mean, a city institution is basically as good as its faculty. I mean, because like in SoCal, for example, you have Santa Monica College. I mean, that is the #1 junior college that feeds right into UCLA. So JCs do have value.
No, it's not a city. It's when we say City College, it's a big engineering school. It's one of the biggest.
Okay, maybe I think it's a little bit different. Okay, in New York.
It's a major engineering school, but it's one. Okay, the school I went to, it's like 40,000 a year. The city is like 5,000. So a lot of people who can't afford it go to City College.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But is now when you say, see, that's the thing. When you say City College, is that a like a 4-year institution, or is
okay. When we call it, okay, we have City University of New York, right? And that has like 30. Yeah, no. Listen, the City University of New York. Then they have all these different colleges, like Hunter College is one of the top medical type colleges. So you get everything from a PhD to City College is basically the engineering school for the whole city of New York, of New York. Mm-hmm. Then you have other schools like Brooklyn College. If you want to become policeman, forensic science, go to John Jay. You got all these different schools in there, but it's all in this whole City University. It's this whole cradle thing. And then we have a whole bunch of community colleges that feeds into those. But those these are big universities.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we will just before you logged on and came onto the panel, we were just having a conversation about Silicon Valley and the impact of remote work and how it may have implications in terms of like social networks, especially if you're like a melanated person who needs access to those networks, because of remote work, you may not be able to have access to those networks. That's what Renaissance was bringing up earlier. And so the conversation kind of devolved into, tech talent, being robbed from, a lot of major U.S. cities to Silicon Valley. It would behoove a lot of these cities and state governments to actually build their own Silicon Valleys within their own urban centers, so that they don't have their talent continuously siphoned out to Silicon Valley. I wasn't sure if you had any opinion on that.
Well, Silicon Valley is also having its own problems with that. It's not, they may be robbing, but Vermont and all these other states are trying to poach those people to come and live there. They're actually giving, like Vermont's giving you $10,000 just to move there. Mm-hmm. And you can work remotely, and they're giving everything. You can high-speed internet, all that. So and a lot of these countries, the top one now is between Thailand and Medellin, Colombia, for doing digital nomad. So it's if I could do it, I'll do it from Medellin.
We talked about that earlier. We went over the whole time.
I'm sorry, I'm late.
Medellin is that is the place, man. I love that place. Have you been to Medellin?
No, I was in Bogota and Cartagena.
That was it?
Yeah, Bogota and Cartagena. Once you get to Cartagena, you just want to stay there. You don't want
Cartagena,
to.
yeah.
You don't want to go no place else.
Love Cartagena.
Oh man,
Cartagena,
Cartagena.
you know, very African. Say it again.
No, I didn't say anything. I was
I'm
just
sorry,
saying
man.
Cartagena is once you get there, you just light some cigars, drink some rum, and just enjoy life, man.
Yeah, I like Cartagena a lot. But like I said, it's a lot of black folks in the city. I like it. It's got a nice African, contingency there. South American
Yeah,
Afro South American
Afro
contingency,
Latino.
which
Yeah.
yep. So I like that a lot. But Medellin, I think was a lot of fun. Like I said, I love Colombia, man. Colombia's a great place to be, man. I think it's
Did the Black Brain Trust ever do something on the Afro Latino cities going all the way down from Mexico all the way down to Brazil? Did you ever talk about something like that?
We only briefly touched on.
no. We haven't had.
I can't hear you, Nagon. You're breaking up.
Goes bargain again.
No, I'm saying we haven't done that. Like formally, really just going through that. But that's something that we should do.
I got a quick question for Black Torch while you're here.
Oh, okay, how you doing? Who's this?
All right, this is Mike Shinnery.
Did I send you books? Or were you the one that?
I believe, yeah, we talked about it before, and you sent me, I believe, some links.
No, I sent you some books. Those were actually books.
On
security. No, on security. I can't remember who asked me. I just responded.
Yeah, I was on that talk, but I think it was somebody else that.
Oh, okay.
The books too. But just because we brought it up, quick question: how is the water down there in Colombia?
What do you mean, the water to drink?
Is it brown?
Well,
we've been told by somebody who never left America or the
no.
He read that the water's brown then.
No. Let me explain something. And this is the problem with people never leaving America. Okay. They don't have any experiences. They don't understand anything. And whatever they told is all hearsay. No, the water is, in fact, the water is the same. It might be cleaner than what stuff we get here because it doesn't have any of those chemicals in it.
Yo, Black Torch.
Yeah.
I think it was Marco Granite. He asked me, how'd you like the brown water when you would shower there? I was like, I just used Dove soap and it worked really well. I just had to laugh at it. You have guys saying the dumbest shit. You just got to keep it moving.
They realize that this is tropical countries where people take showers 3 and 4 times a day. When I was in Brazil, I was in Bahia. Oh man, it's so hot. You take a shower 3 and 4 times a day.
That's what I loved about it. And the girls they were clean. They were, anyway.
Yeah. We won't get into that. But
whoa, is that a slippery slope? Is that a slippery slope right there?
No, because we don't want to get into the hygiene talk that we have on those other channels. Please not go there.
Hey, I was going to ask you, Black Torch. As far as I know, the guy was being kind of ignorant about the water. Do you drink bottled water just for in the beginning?
I drink.
Just let your immune system adjust.
Okay, there's 2 things you got to realize. It's the bacteria in the food and the water that people get sick on. In Mexico, it's the bacteria. They call it Montezuma's revenge.
Yep.
And it's really the bacteria because each area of the planet has their own specific bacteria and the water and in the food. So it's just normal course. I would drink bottled water anywhere I go, even in America, because you don't know how in New York, the water tastes different than the one in Florida. I go to Florida, the water is horrible. I don't even drink that water. So it's like this. But if you're talking about sickness, it's basically the different bacteria, and you just got to get used to it. I mean, and always take Imodium with you and some Pepto-Bismol, and you'll be all right. Don't let
Yeah, no,
anybody fool you.
no, I
Enjoy
figured it was
yourself.
just, I just figured it was a temporary thing. I didn't know if you felt so that the water was so fine that you didn't even think that, hey, my body would have
Okay,
to
I give
adjust
an
or not.
example. You go to a restaurant. You think they're using bottled water or regular water to prepare the
Regular.
food? Yeah. So you got it's the bacteria. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's
Yeah.
you. There is um. You're gonna either you deal with it or you're never going to leave America. That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And I've been all over the place. I've been in countries in Africa, ate the food. I had bottled water. And I give an example. Um, a guy says, "Oh, I don't do all this." I said, "Do you drink? Do you drink?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Where do you think they get the ice that they use those ice cubes from?" And he says, like, "Oh, I never thought of that." I said, "Dude, you can't go to another country and think that you're going to be immune from anything.
Yeah.
In fact, the more bacteria that you're exposed to, the more stronger your immune system gets.
Yep.
But um, I don't mean to take up. I hope I answered your question.
No, yeah, no, definitely.
Okay. Mike.
Oh yeah. I'm good with the question. It's best to hear from people who have traveled. Because especially even now, like you were saying earlier about Alabama, we hear a lot. A lot of people have preconceived notions of going to the continent, and so they,
Yeah.
they won't go just for the stories that they've heard, growing up or whatever. Of what is it? They say the commercials with the kid with the fly on the eye or something,
Yeah, but you
and
know
they
who
think
those are
that's
making.
everywhere.
That's that Oxfam and all them. They doing that to make money. Trust me. You go to
Exactly.
some of these. You go to. I was in Accra. You just be shocked and amazed. You go to Benin. You go to Nigeria. Nigeria is kind of chaotic. You got 200 million souls. It's kind of chaotic, but some parts of it, it's just fabulous. You go to Senegal, lovely time. You go to Angola, Mozambique, South Africa. Oh, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have a good time.
That's the whole thing. I remember before I was going to Angola, right? I was going to, and travel advisory.
Oh,
Shit's,
yeah.
shit crazy. Look out. State Department. It's a dangerous place. They still have rebels on. They still have rebels on the on the outskirts. And I'm like, what? So I got a little nervous until I met an Angolese young lady. I really had met her in Brazil, and she wanted me to come over to Angola. I said, "Well, what's all with this?" She goes, "What are you talking about?" She said, "That shit's been over for a long time. I don't know why, America, why your country's putting this stuff out." And
You know why they put it out? Going, come on. You
yeah,
know why?
but she was responding as to why this was, and I had just asked. And when I was there, it was nothing of the sort. If you had read this and looked at it, you'd been like, "Nah, hell no, I ain't going, man. Ah, man, they got rebels. They got rebels out there. Man, nothing of the sort."
And
But
give
this
me,
is the kind of,
I'll give an
oh, I was
example.
going to say this. This is the kind of stuff that they tell you, so you don't go over there.
Exactly, and that's
That's
what I was my point. I had a friend of mine. He was with me. He's an agriculturist, right? So he went over there just to see how it is, and he says, like, and the guys asked him, "We wanted black agriculturists to come over here to help us get our stuff after the war." And I said, and he said, "But yeah, but we were told that you guys they were going to try to kill you and all this." He says, "No, we wanted to put out open bids for American black agricultural people to come to Angola." And I heard the same thing going on in all Zimbabwe and all these other countries. But it's being filtered out by, by the forces that don't want you to come together. That's all.
and then there were a whole lot of white dudes running around there
Shit.
and doing business and all, and it was just like,
No, the ones that get on my nerves are the Lebanese and the
huh?
Lebanese and the Syrians. Oh,
Yeah, they're all over the place.
oh man, those
Wait,
people are
what's so
just.
bad about them? Not to go too in depth, but
oh, just say like this. They're like parasites.
Listen, we need to chill on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We want. Okay. This is okay. You have groups that come there and basically exploit the situation. That's all
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
I got you. I know where you're going.
Yeah.
And I'll shut up because I'm politically incorrect.
Yeah. Let's chill on that.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I think we have one more item on the docket. We don't really need to go over it. We'll get to it another day. But thank you all for joining us. And please hit the like button if you've not already done so. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust and those posted on the community tab. Doc and description, the video for you to reference. Thank you to all the panelists who joined and contributed. If you're trying to get into IT for the first time at the entry level, we do offer IT mentorship. If you're trying to go from one IT role to another, we do offer IT coaching. If you have any questions on cover letters, resumes, salaries, and wages, we offer advice in that area. If you're in the tri-state area and you're looking for an IT contract, Nicole 11 does have recs on the table. Shalom, everyone.